Welcome to our Spotlights on Creation series. We are going to be looking at natural science without evolution. Are you tired of watching nature programs and hearing about how many millions of years an animal has been around? Are you sick of listening to scientists tell you who evolved from whom? Science doesn't have to be ruined by evolution. Our programs are based on the simple concept of studying what is real and ignoring speculation. And since God's creation is so vast, we don't ever need to worry about running out of incredible new insights about God, animals, and the world in which we live. So this is natural science without evolution. My name is Matthew Priebe, and I am a naturalist. I have been studying animals and plants for over 3 decades, spending most of my time in the field, learning about the animals themselves. My wife, Delise, photographs what we find as I identify and record their behavior. In our nature programs, you will not have evolution forced down you or your kids' throats. Instead, we will look at nature itself to see how animals live and survive. Our programs are entirely about the plants and animals themselves that make nature so amazing. Our creation spotlights usually focus on specific groups of animals or plants, but in this episode, we will look at design in nature. We highlight designs that most people have never seen. Many of the behaviors we profile are recent discoveries that even most scientists are unaware of. All animals have different shapes and colors and sizes. Is everything a chaos of mismatched parts, or does every part have a purpose or reason? Could the answer to this question tell us if there is a God? Can we prove that a creator exists? On the other hand, can evolutionists prove that evolution is true? Let's ask the animals and find out. This Spotlight on Creation is part of a series of around 20, many of which are only available on DVD. Visit our website to order them all, and be sure to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any of our new videos. So enjoy a sample of natural science without evolution.
When we look at the animals and plants around us, what do we see? Does everything look the same, behave the same, and live in the same way? Or do we see an infinite variety of shapes, colors, behaviors, and specializations? Life is extremely diverse. Life is extremely complex. What does this tell us? Imagine finding a pocket watch sitting on an ocean shore. Where did it come from? Did the ocean waves combine the sand, coral, pebbles, and seaweed to form the watch? Or did a human design and build the watch? When we look at Mount Rushmore, do we assume that long years of weathering and erosion have resulted in shapes that coincidentally look like the faces of U.S. presidents? Or do we know, even without being told, that the faces were carved by artists? What about a stained glass window? Are we glad that the glass accidentally formed into that beautiful pattern that gives us pleasure to look at? Or are we glad that someone had the artistic skill required to create the beauty we admire? What about living organisms? Plants, animals, every living cell. Evolution tells us that all the design we see in nature is due to chance. Random chance is responsible for all the complexity and all the diversity of nature. There is no intelligence in the universe capable of designing life. So all life just happened to form this way out of chaos, luck, and natural processes. So when we see what looks like design, this is merely the appearance of design. Is this logical? What do the animals and plants have to teach us? Do they give us evidence for random chance or a master designer, a blind watchmaker, or an intelligent creator? Scientists can tell the difference between chance and design when they observe systems that are both complex and specific. If a system is ordered and specific, it rules out the likelihood that randomness is the cause. However, since everybody can use common sense and experience to decide if watches, sculptures, and windows are made by chance or design, then why can't we use that same common sense and experience to decide about the living organisms of our world? Let us look at a few examples. For many years, physicists told us that it was impossible for bumblebees to be able to fly, based on their body weight and wing surface. And yet bumblebees continue to buzz merrily about flower meadows. Discus fish secrete an edible mucus for their tiny babies to eat, letting them nibble it off the sides of their bodies. A rhino's head is filled with specialized smelling equipment that allows them to see the world through the sense of smell. Plants breathe through microscopic pores that cover their leaves. Those species that live in dry habitats keep their pores shut as much as possible to save water. Those that live in wet habitats can afford to keep them open all the time. How do unthinking plants know the difference? Bird feathers are interlocking lattices of tiny hooks that give them a strong, tight surface, while staying so lightweight that the birds are able to fly. Other feathers serve different functions, and each has its own unique and useful features. Spiders spin a liquid from their abdomen that hardens when exposed to oxygen, forming silk. Spiders can weave silk into egg cases, safety lines, and the most ingenious insect traps in nature. Sea turtles ready to lay eggs have the navigational ability to find the exact beach they were born on, decades after they last saw it when they were a tiny hatchling. Many salamanders have no lungs. Instead, they breathe through their moist and porous skin. Cuttlefish communicate using patterns of light and color on their skin. They have an entire visual language of shifting colors and strobe pulses, the most sophisticated visual language ever studied. We will be looking at many such examples in greater depth in future presentations, but for now we'll finish with a look at two clear examples of design in nature. The first example is bat sonar, called echolocation. Bat species make up 1/4 of all mammals. Many are tropical, active during the day, and use their excellent vision to navigate. But others are active during the night, especially those in temperate areas, and these rely on echolocation to navigate. They send out high-frequency sound bursts, directing them with elaborate facial shapes. These sound pulses, above the level of our hearing, are so loud that the bat's delicate hearing would be damaged if they didn't have special protection. Bats have a valve plug in each ear with which they shut off their hearing as they send out the sound pulses. They immediately open the valves to hear the returning echoes. Bats can turn on and off their hearing like this up to 200 times per second. They use the sound echoes to construct a mental map of their immediate surroundings. All bats can see very well, but echolocation allows fantastic feats of navigation that vision never could. They can detect objects as thin as a human hair. They fly at speeds up to 40 miles per hour, even in total darkness, so caves become perfect roosts. In a cave system of Borneo, millions of bats share roosting and flying space. They avoid crashing into one another or interfering with each other's sonar, despite the fact that there are 12 different species, each with their own calls and frequency levels. evolution provides no factual evidence as to how a system so unbelievably sophisticated could ever evolve slowly over millions of years. A second example is the transformation of butterflies and moths from larva caterpillars to adults. They enter a hard chrysalis or silk cocoon and melt into formless liquid, as every cell in their body breaks down to a soup from which new cell structures will form the adult body. What is in control of this transformation? There is no controlling brain, as the caterpillar's brain has turned to liquid along with the rest of the body. The adult that emerges is utterly different from the larva that went into the transformation. The body, mouth, eyes, digestive system, and feet are totally changed. If we didn't observe the change, we would never guess it is the same species. Only God's providence could have set up such a delicate and complex transformation. It is truly a miracle of design. Do nature's examples indicate random chance mimicking design, or do we see actual design? God has left His handiwork on display for us to study. If we ignore the clear evidence of intelligent design, we will try to explain what we see as blind luck. Creation really is the best scientific explanation for the complexity and diversity of life.